Hi everyone. I think there are enough people here, so let's start. So what I want this session to be is more of like a QA session rather than a tutorial session. I want it to be like people showing what they have done and if they have any questions in regards to which areas they would like to improve. So let's follow this approach for this session. And I hope, people can also start and sharing your screen, showing us what you have built so far. And if you have patience in regards to the areas that you are building. Anyone can start. Okay, maybe let's start with Ifrata. Ifrata, earlier I saw the content you built and you connected Olama with it as well. I just have one question to you. I've seen just one question initially. Is it actually grading and returning the result, or is it? I saw the score of 4. Is it a final result, or is it like work in progress kind of result?
Yeah, it grades. Yeah, it shows the final result. But one thing, okay, let me share my screen. Hold on.
I want to know, Llama, is it good at calling tools? Because it's an open source model and it's been a while since it has been released. And I think you said you're using Llama 3.1.
Yes. Well, that's
yeah.
Well, that's because I don't have credit cards. Hopefully I would like to use Gemini 3 or Grok for this. I feel like they're better.
Yes, definitely. But what I wanted to know is, so since you are building agents are basically LLMs with tools. I wanted to know if Llama was actually capable of calling tools.
Yeah, okay.
Because we are building agents in this project. It's not like a one-time, you give it an input and it outputs the final result. It's going to be more of it calling tools and it outputting finally the final result. So I think that distinction is important when we come to agents.
Okay. So first, let me try to give it this one. Well, this is in progress. This is not the final version. There are a lot of tweaks and changes that I'm going to make. So here, okay. I don't think we need the vision provider here because we're not judging any videos. So okay. So for this one, it gave 4, but we can see the output results. Okay.
I mean, what I wanted to actually check is it calling the tools that you have provided? So what are the tools that you have provided to your agent first?
Well, I haven't really provided any. Let me. Hold on. I haven't really connected the tools yet. For now, it's just checking against the rubrics that I've set, and then it's just reading the files.
So how does that go? Say, I give you a file, a repository, and then you clone the repository, and the repository has files, right?
Yes.
And based on a given rubric, then the agent should go ahead and on the files that you got from the repository, it should be going through the files it thinks are important for this current criteria that is grading on. and it should be opening it, just like how you see it on your ID agent through the cursor or any other. So I like the agent you are building is very similar to that. It's not going to be like a one-time, you like dump everything to the agent and then it outputs the result. It's going to be an interaction. So the interaction will be between your agent and the files that you are providing it. Maybe it's, I hope it's, just to make it clear that for everyone else as well.
So, yes, it's clear. So first, like it's going to check everything in the Git repo, whether it contains the folders, the structures, and the things that are expected in the rubrics. This one is a demo response, to be honest. It's not actually working. It's just a demo response. Because if it actually worked, we need to use other. We need to connect other tools.
Yeah, definitely, because you need tools. Even the cloning one, you could argue it could be a tool as well. But if it's static, it needs like the agent you are building. It needs. It doesn't really change because it accepts GitHub repository and then it performs the detectives, the judges, all that. It could be static in that case, but you can also make it a tool in which the agent calls given a repository. It will then understand that it should clone the repository and perform read file actions, searching the files, the terms within the files and all that.
Yeah, it definitely needs to do that.
Yes.
But
what
are the suggestions? Do you have any suggestions that what specific tools should I use for this to make it fully fledged and functional?
Just check for you. Yes, so on the challenge document, you have the tools. So the first one is a repo investigator. So the repo investigator would need to use the analyze graph structure, the extract Git history. So all these tools, it depends on the descriptions that you give to the tools, and the LLM will decide whether to use that tool or not. So just from a general perspective, you can have a tool with a specified like read file, and what it does is it takes in a path to a file, and then it reads its contents. And even that tool can have additional parameters like line numbers from which to which line it should read, and that should be decided by the LLM as well. If it wants to read the entire file, then it will just request reading the entire file. If it wants to read a certain portion of the file, then it gives the additional parameters, the line numbers. So one tool could be read file. Another tool could be grep. So grep is GREP, and it searches for terms across the entire repository. And this will then return the files it found in which terms that you searched, where they are within the repository. For example, if you search for, let's say, node, then it will go ahead and search the repository, and then it will return the file paths in the line number where it found the term node. And then the LLM will then continue with another tool. It will be like reading that specific file, what its contents are, and all that. So it's clear, Fata?
Okay.
All right. So thanks, Fata. And if anyone else also has a question, and I think, yes, maybe you.
Yeah, so I implemented the tools to, for example, the repo investigator. It's a tool that it's a static tool. It doesn't use the LLM at this point. It just goes through the repo and sees your commits and so on. Like I'm trying to understand now at which stage that we integrate the LLM to. I mean, is it necessary in the detective stage, or is it only necessary on the judges stage, like the LLM part?
I would argue it's necessary on the detective stage as well, because, like, how would you know, for example, if the rubric was to change and it wasn't to actually check the Git commit? If it is static, then it will be going ahead and then checking the Git commit, right? We don't want that. What we want is based on the rubrics that are provided. So in this case, it might need the commits, but if we swap the rubrics and if it's a different rubric, then the LLM should decide whether to use the tool where it finds out the commits results. So the tools should be well described to the LLM, and then the LLM should decide when it should be using the tool.
Okay, so even on the detective stage, it would be important to let the LLM use the tools.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, who else? So yes, yeah, Bob.
Okay, thank you. I have a similar question with you. Currently, I haven't integrated any API for outsourcing LLMs, but I am seeing the test results on my terminal. So, is there anything missing, or it's on the today's and tomorrow's task to integrate the LLMs?
I don't think I understand the question.
Currently, I haven't connected with any of other LLMs. I'm using just LangGraph's API key. Have you got me now?
LangGraph's API key, what does it provide?
I think it's just for logging the results on the dashboard of the Langsmith.
So it's Langsmith. Yes, Langsmith. So that's for your evaluation. So once you have your agent running, you want to take a look at how your agent is performing, like which agents are being called and what tools those agents are actually calling and how the parallel execution is going. So for those to look at the insights, then you go to Langsmith. And on Langsmith, you'll be able to take a look at your agents, how they are performing. Also, your system prompts, what's like going into your agents, what's coming as an input, what is the output from the agent. All those you get from the Langsmith. But first, you need to have an agent. So an agent would require you to use an LLM.
Okay, my question is it for the next job? I mean, the work we will do on today's and tomorrow's, or we should have done it by now?
I mean, like how are you testing it? So say you defined your nodes, your edges, and then you build a graph for the detective stage only. Let's say it's only for the detective stage. Then, like, how are you testing without the LLM within the graph? I mean, in that case, it's going to be just a static, like one node calls another node, and then another node calls another node. But if there is no agent within it, like if there is no an LLM within the graph, then it's not really an agent.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So an LLM is a requirement since you are building an agent, and the key that you used for Langsmith that will help you to actually take a look at how your agent is performing. So you could ask, like, which LLMs are people using? So Efrata was showing earlier that he was using Olama and with Llama 3.1, I think. And there are also other people that are using other approaches. I think we should keep the Slack active on those questions, like what are people using? What LLMs are they using? What approaches are they going through? And such kind of questions would also keep the community alive. And those, I'm pretty sure that there are like others that figured most of these things out. So it will also help those that understood and are actually working towards projects. If anyone else like posts a question, you share your like experience or findings so that you help your teammates as well. Okay. Thank you, Jakob. I hope it's clear.
Yes, it is.
All right. So I'll just randomly like ask those that I have not really seen as much. Amara Kasa. Amara, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so
Uh,
how is it going?
okay. Most of the time, I spend my time understanding the challenge requirement. Of course, I think it is easier compared to last week's document challenge. Yeah, I started coding yesterday, and on the first, I think the detective phase is here, and I understood we should not use or integrate detectives with LLM models. Now I've started implementing justice and judge systems. That's layer 2 and layer 3, and I hope I'll do today, but of course, still I didn't test it.
So, which LLM are you using? And also, what are your tools that you provide to the agent?
I have planned to use Gemini because I have used it freely. I think in the first week or week 0. So Gemini should be one of the 3 LLM models I have planned to use. For now, I plan to use it, but I have to add 2 other LLM models. And you directed us to use different LLM models if possible for each nodes in each layer. So I assume like that, but still I didn't test integrating this autonomous system automation with the LLM models.
Yes. Okay. You have any questions?
No, still for now, I don't have questions. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Amara. Next,
Thank
let's go to, if there's anyone that wants to talk, you can just go ahead and continue. And if not, just call someone from.
In my understanding, we should not use or integrate LLM models in layer 1 detective phase. And someone from us asked you before, but I didn't well understand whether LLM model integration is necessary in detective phase. In my opinion, in my understanding, I think there is no need of using LLM model integrations in the detective phase. So is my understanding right?
Why do you think there's no need?
Because we detective phases are only based on evidences. So I think we don't use LLM models because the LLM, for example, repo files identifications and so on based on rubrics. So I think we don't even use LLM models in the detective phase.
Okay, let me give you an example. Say
Okay.
I want I want to know whether a file named state.py exists in the repository. So I then ask the detective layer, does this file exist? Then what does the detective layer?
We implemented just using normal programming. I implemented like that. So,
But what if I
for
change
that-
now? Yes, so that's static. So you are expecting that I
Yeah,
ask
static, yeah.
state.py. So what if I change it to node.py or like any other random file? What happens?
Of course, in that case, LLM model integration may be necessary.
Yes. We want the detective to be able to do, not only the detective, but all the other layers as well, to be able to accommodate any rubric. So for your case, if the rubric changes, then your detective layer will be failing. It won't be able to actually go ahead and produce evidences. So you should, like everyone else as well, you should be making sure that the agents that you are building are not entirely dependent on the rubrics that we gave you. It should be able to create any other rubric given. So the inputs are going to be the GitHub repository, a report, and a rubric. So these three are dynamic. The agents should be able to handle any of, like if any input comes, they should be able to handle any source. So don't assume they're static.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
No. Mr. Mamara? Yes, Joseph.
How about Git log, like Git commit history kind of thing? How does that use LLMs? Like for my case, like I run the Git logs and count the number of commits. Then if also the rubric says that, so if it's more than 3, that's a success. If it's less than 3, that's a failure. So even in that case, do we use LLMs, and how we do this?
Yes. I mean, even calling the Git log, that shouldn't be static, because like what I'm seeing also is everything is being dependent on the rubrics that you are provided. So you are expecting that a rubric would require the git commit or the git log command to be called. But that's a tool. And that tool should only be called if the rubric requires that. So what if I then change the rubric to not include checking for commits? What's it? If your pipeline is static, then it will be calling the tool. We don't even call it a tool because you are not providing it to an agent. It's just a function that you defined in this case. So if it's static, then you're just calling the function without any need for it to be called. The rubric is not specifying that it wants to check how much commits there have been. Then you don't even need to call the function, right? Because there is no need to check that. So it should be an LLM deciding whether it should call the tools that you have provided. Joseph?
Okay. I have listened, and thank you. It's clear.
Yes, Beitel?
And
Yeah. You have another question? You can continue.
yeah, I think Adonias asked a good question. So if you explain that.
But before that, can you like explain more on what you've asked? I didn't understand.
Beitel, give me a minute. You can just check what's there on the chat box. So guys are doing just so starting from the second question, is the rubric some expected to be dynamic? Yes, the rubric is a dynamic. So you can think of it like this. We give you assignments like every week, and our agent saying, depending on the rubrics that we set, it will be grading your assignments. So the rubric changes from week to week, right? So it's a dynamic factor. Your input, your submissions are also a dynamic factor. So the agent should have a way to actually accept these dynamic factors and then work to actually produce a result. So that's the second question. The first question is, how do we measure the confidence of our agent every time testing? So this is where Langsmith comes in. So you take a look at Langsmith and how it's performing, your agent, how is it performing, how is it scoring the tools that's provided, and even like its reasoning. So you can ask your agent specifically before it calls a tool, the reason why it's calling that, why it wants to do like redefine XYZ. It should be reasoning. It should be telling you why it's taking a certain action. And then you take a look at those logs and you understand whether your agent is performing as it should. And also, you can also like have a certain number of, let's say, some inputs. For example, say you have 3 different projects here, 3 different GitHub repositories and 3 different rubrics. And then you grade it manually by yourself. You grade each of those, and you see like how you give each of those repositories based on the rubrics that you created. And then you run your agent on those repositories, on those rubrics, and then you compare. So this is basically an eval dataset. You have a dataset in which you know for sure that's output, what it should be like. And then you compare the output of your agent against those outputs. And then you, like, every time you see that it's coming closer to what you have manually checked, what you have manually provided, then your confidence on that agent will be increasing. There could be some edge cases in which like you yourself as a human also didn't consider. And those edge cases would need to be actually like seen during your execution. So Langsmith and also like having an eval dataset would help in those case studies. And Rafia is saying, for those of you wondering what's free LLM to use for vision inspect, you can use Plain. Yeah, Plain is a good model. Plain 5 version. I think it's a vision language model. Yes. Thank you, Rafia. And I hope I answered the question on this. And Britti is saying for vision analysis, what fear? Okay, yeah, so Britti, Rafia has answered the question. And such kind of patients, I think it's best if we also have some written on Slack as well, so that it would be there for, like it's going to be there for your entire like week. For in the chat box when we end the meeting, it's not going to be available. So I think we should also like have this conversation with Slack as well. But thank you for both Britti and Rafia. In Betal, I think, yeah, we can continue. Sorry for the delay.
You already answered.
Oh, okay. What was the question? So,
It was Yusuf's question and Adonis as well. On the Rubik.
Third. Okay. Masarat is saying, should the final score be a purely mathematical result calculated by my code by just ignoring the X5? Or should the LLM suggest this cause of impact in quality checks and columns? So, Masarat, if you're able to speak, I think it's better, so that's great. Yes, if not, are you? I can't speak. Okay, so stand. So the LLM should be the one that's going to be suggesting the scores. So you have like different the prosecutors, the defense, the detectives, all those agents will be providing, giving you what they think that is actually. You also have the judicial layer. So the LLM is a very critical part of the outcome, like what the score would be like. Then in the Python code, we would say be checking based on the static like rules that we have set, whether what's coming from the LLM is actually valid. So I think it's going to be a combination of both. I hope I answered the question of that. So Nabil, let's continue with you.
Okay. I know that you said the rubric may change, but
Yes.
when I'm looking at the rubric, it just shows dimensions for the judges to to adjudicate on. So how exactly can the rubric like affect the detective stage, like gathering the evidence? The structure that you gave us focuses on the judge stage or the judge layer for the agents. Do you understand my question?
I don't think I do, and if it's, I think it's basically also kind of
Fair. Okay, I'll share the screen. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes.
All right. So the rubric here, it just has the dimension, and
Yes.
these dimensions, like they differ on like which aspect they want to judge, which aspect the judges want to judge, and the dimensions, from my understanding, is for the judges to to use it as the criteria to pass judgment on a certain rubric. So based on this structure, I don't see how it can be used by the detective.
So yes, let's just see the first dimension, the Git forensic analysis.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have the instruction. So like, can you take me through like how your agent will be?
Yeah. So
yeah.
So
let's see.
yeah, currently, the repo tool, it just runs commands and it extracts the history. Like it's all statically running. It does not refer to the rubric as it stands right now. So my implementation is static. It may be wrong, but as it stands right now, it's static. And I want to understand how we can connect it with the rubric so that it can see what kind of evidence it needs to collect. So we were already told that it should look at the Git log and so on, like to see the progression, the commits, and so on. But I wanted to see if you have an example. Yeah,
like one question here. The instruction, who is it for? The forensic instruction, what it says there, who is it for?
It looks like it's not for a human, I think. It's like a prompt, right?
So that's a key part. So this is not for you, it's for an agent. So the agent will then take this instruction and then it will take a look at the tools that it has. So for example, it's saying run git log one line reverse, right? So you say you have a tool which does like logging, what given a certain repository, it then runs the git log command on that, and then it just prints back. It returns a result showing the number of commits, who committed them, when. So all those, that is a tool. And then based on the given instruction, an LLM, an agent, will be then deciding whether it calls a git log tool or a git clone tool or any other git related tools. Is it clear? Nabil?
Yeah, I do understand, but it's not completely clear for me. Maybe I will do some research.
So, just like if you just say we change the dimension entirely. Let's say I changed the Git forensic analysis, the GitHub repo dimension to another dimension. Then what happens? Because if it's static, then it's not creating it. Then it's not adaptable to change. So what I want you guys to think about is like, how are we, like we at 10 Academy, how are we grading your submissions, given like there are different number of submissions we are receiving. So let's say we receive like 60 GitHub repositories or 100 GitHub repositories. So those are dynamic. The second one is we receive 100 reports. Those are dynamic. The third one is a rubric. That is changed from week to week. We have a different rubric. And also from interim to final as well, we have different rubrics. So our agent needs to be adaptable to the rubrics we are providing, to the submissions that we are providing, so that it creates it in turns on output based on that. So what you need to think when you build agents is it should be dynamic. So static is no longer the case. When you have an intelligence, when you have an LLM, then the LLM should be deciding what tool to call, given a certain instruction, what tool it needs to call. So if you are able to also like open the challenge document, are you able to open that? And then scroll to the detective layer. Yeah, so here we have these agents do not opinionate. So it's calling them agents, right? And you are on
Yes, I'm on mute, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, it's okay. So it's also telling you that those are agents. The detective layer, these are agents. So for a thing to be called an agent, it requires an LLM and a tool.
Okay. All right.
I hope it's
Thank
clear.
you.
So, like, if you think of it like making it dynamic, so you have 3 inputs. Those inputs are dynamic and they are not static. The LLM will then decide which tool to use so that it satisfies the inputs that you have given it. Things that will really solve a lot of this. Yeah.
The
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. The only place I was
continue.
thinking was for the vision inspector, because this would do some sort of LLM call to look at the image to see if they are expressing the architecture and diagrams and so on. So I'll try to make it dynamic, try to understand how it can be integrated. Thank you very much.
Nice. Continue. That we solve this, and Joseph is saying what if the dynamic will be advanced tools that we don't have. Then in that case, just say I don't support such kind of problem. But really, the tools are not that much a lot. We like, I think we have around say 5 or 6 tools, and even if you see like Cursor and also all those agentic IDEs, they have a certain number of tools. They don't have like a million number of tools, and those tools really do suffice to work on a project, right? So have you ever seen like you say to an agent, to an IDE agent, say Cursor, I want to implement XYZ, and it says I don't have the tool to do that. Really not. Most of the tools are well known, and they are not a lot. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, thank you, Joseph. Anybody else wants to answer it? Like to the question? Let's see. Jonas McConnell, how are you going, Jonas? Jonas, can you speak?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, how's it going, Jonas?
It's going well. I've been working on the tasks, and I have started working on the final submission.
I think we need more details on that. So you can also like say, I'm using this LLM for my land graph agent. It has XYZ tools. Let's follow that approach.
Okay. I'm thinking of using the min-max model, integrating it with Olama for the tools. That's what I'm thinking, since I don't have a credit for the OpenAI, and I've tried we worked in week-one challenges Gemini, but tokens are not, I think, enough. So
Okay. Have you checked what others are doing, like in regards to the LLM, what they're using?
Yeah, I've been reading the Slack and they have said that some people use Grok and Gemini.
Okay, so are you planning on trying that out, or is Minimax enough?
I will try it out and choose which one works for me best. Since now I'm trying, like I don't wanna waste my tokens. Like let me finish and with the minimum, then I'll try the others.
All right, Jonas. It's like keep it active on Slack as well, and also here as well. So and also on standard as well.
Okay.
See more from me, and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, let's go to Pamela. Pamela, can you hear us? Everyone is saying they can't speak. Thank you, Ramla and Pamela. If you are not able to speak, please let us know. Yes, I can. If you have any questions, you can also type some. Let's go to anyone else that wants to speak out. They can just call in links because I'm not seeing hands. Nathaniel and Amsa. Okay, so we'll come back to you, Nathaniel. Abdurrahim, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So I have one question. So, from what I've seen, we need to, use an agent, which we can bind, tools for the detective layer. My question is, the tools will return the result to the LLM, right? So, when can the LLM, know that it's finished, the detective layer, and it needs to pass it to the aggregator, the result aggregator, evidence aggregator. So it can go to, the next LLM agent, which is, the judge's part. So I'm not sure what kind of check we may put. Yeah.
So that's entirely like a prompt issue. So the way you specify your system instruction should define whether, like, so what decides whether it's done or it needs an additional tool call, or it needs like XYZ. It's an agent. It's an LLM that does that. But you can specify on your system instruction based on your observations of your agent. For example, if it's not like reading files, if it's not opening and reading more files before it like returns a result, then you specify it in your system instruction saying, I want you to be very thorough when you are actually looking for evidence. I want you to not be making a hasty judgment. I want you to actually take a look at the provided repository and it's what's there. So it depends from LLM to LLM. So the current LLMs, they are mostly agent by default. So you don't even have to say like, I want you to be as thorough as possible, because the way the providers, the LLM providers are training them up so that they become more agentic. So, but in our case, since we are not using the LLMs, which are cutting edge, and we are only using open source models, they may not be as that much performant. So for that scenario, I think the best approach would be saying to have your system instruction be as detailed as possible. But at the end of the day, who decides what's the result that the agent has output is the agent itself. You cannot be sitting there and then babysitting the output. Abdurrahim, is it clear?
Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah. So we need to give it some kind of context to make sure, it only collects evidences and pass it to the evidence aggregator once it have, all of the evidences, I guess.
Yes. So it's
Okay, thanks.
it's a play on the system instruction.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Nice, Abdul Rahim. Yes, you can go to Nathaniel next. Nathaniel. Nathaniel, do you hear us? Okay, so it's not responding. Okay, so should I use different LLM for each letter detectives, the judge, and the justice? It depends. And the number of LLMs you use. For example, just from experience, what I can tell you is Gemini is very good for vision-related things. So if you ask it, if you give it a PDF and then you ask it anything in regards to vision, in my experience, I would say Gemini is the best. But when it comes to actually like agentic things, calling tools, then in that case, GPT and Claude models are the best. So it differs, like it differs based on the task at hand. But in our case, since we are not using these models, it might be fine like if we just use one model for everything. So Bamla, I hope to answer the question. Okay, nice. So yeah, I think I saw your hand. Was it by mistake, or do you have anything to share with us?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Just to have a point, 2 points. The first one is well, the example. For example, when I was submitting my this time interim report, when I was submitting the dotting example, the rubric, the first time the rubric out that I submitted my API, because in the API space there was like a word that say like put your API here, and the rubric thinks I put the API there. So after the first submitting, I just add the comment, and I think the LLM gave that the second time so that it corrects. That's why I think we need the LLM model in the first phase, just to understand our commit, because I add more information on the commit that it is just a text, it's not an API, so that when the rubric judged me on the second time, it got that, and it corrected my grade. So I think that will be a best example to explain why we need the LLM in phase 1. And the thing is, in the tools one, I think you can add more on file finder or code quality tools, because not every person puts their file on the same architecture. So we need to find the file, or we need to check the health of how the git command is working and the other things. So those tools will help or will enhance your report, I think. So those are things I can add. And I'm working well. I'm using GPT. Less models for like GPT 4o mini for layer 1, and for the second and third one, GPT 4o. I don't know, maybe I'll change it to the group if I found the API, and that's all.
Nice. Well said, Sumaya. And I think others as well, they find this helpful, and specifically like where the LLM is helpful in the detective phase, like how its input is actually it's based on what it's seeing. It's not static, so it's dynamic, and how that differs. We need an intelligence there. So the intelligence in this case is LLM. So thank you, Sumaya, so much, and I think you are also doing well. So keep it up. And others, any other patient, any other outstanding patient you have? I think like this challenge is like one of, I would say it's an excellent challenge, because you are building what you are seeing, what you are interacting with, and then you are also then running it on your submission, see the output. So it's kind of like has that sense of satisfaction way it works. And even if it doesn't work, you understand like certain aspects, like how are agents being developed, how do they work, how do they call tools, and all of that. So I think this challenge is a good challenge, and I want you to see it, and as much as possible make it as dynamic as possible, make it mirror like our 10x solution, how we grade your submissions. And then like you can say like I have built a grader that actually then outperforms even 10x, and that would be a good, let's say, something to a portfolio. So like think of it as a challenge, and it should be like dynamic. Don't think of the static, because we're using agents, and agents are not static, they are dynamic by nature. So I hope it's clear. Just take one person if we have some time. Rahel, can you hear us? Okay, so Nuria is saying, should we expect 5 out of 5 if we give out on the it? It depends. It might not be 5 out of 5. But you're like receiving feedback, right? It's saying you should do X, Y, Z, along with why it's giving you 5 out of 5, or let's say 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5. But it depends on also the model you're using. So the latest models, they check a lot more than the previous model, since they have a lot more intelligence packed into them. So it doesn't necessarily mean that 5 out of 5 is good or 3 out of 5 is good, but you should be like checking what the feedback is saying. It's not like 5 out of 5 only. It should be like giving you a reason why it's 5 out of 5 or 3 out of 5. So you're using OpenAI. Then in that case, if you are using their latest models like GPT 5.2, 5.3, then yes, for that specific rubric, it's giving you 5 out of 5. But still, you should be making sure that what's laid out on the challenge document is actually being done. It shouldn't be like a random 5 out of 5. It should be well structured and well within the requirement of the challenge document. Yeah, I hope I answered the question. And you can also see all of these in Langsmith. So Langsmith is a very, very powerful report. It gives you insights into your agent, how it's performing, where you need to tune your system instructions, and all of that. So I would say like Langsmith is a very, very helpful. Okay, so Rahel, we're not speaking, and you're not also typing. Okay, so I want one of you guys, those that submitted the peer gradable repository, if you can just open it up so that I can show you who we assigned you and how the process goes. So anyone that wants to volunteer, but can open your screen and then go through. You'll go through it together. Yes, safe data. You can go ahead.
Okay, so do I need to open this?
Yeah. So on the left, if you click on peer grading,
Okay.
then yes.
Oh, okay.
So now you're seeing full submissions, right? It's saying this. And on the right, you also see a rubric that we created for this. So if you click on the info icon, right there on the rubric, you have these criteria. So these criteria are based on your interaction with your peer. So, for example, how much have they progressed, their development progress? If you like open, for example, the complete system, the weight, the first one, system, see that like what it means. It's a complete system. So it tells us, and then below you also see, if you scroll a bit down, you also see a feedback implementation, proactive communication, and also finally agent feedback relevance. So you'll be grading your peers as well as your own selves on the last rubric. So this one on the last criteria, it says agent feedback relevance. So this is how your agent is performing. So this is like entirely on your side. But for the other 3 or 4 criteria, you are basically grading your peer. So once you decide, for example, you can just click close that, and then let's say for this case, if you scroll a bit up, I mean down. Yeah.
Okay.
So in this case, for example, for the first criteria, it says development, right?
Yeah.
Development progress. So once you have checked their submission, you can just click on the link on the left side to open the submission, and then you then use your agent to actually, if you want, you can use your agent to grade based on this rubric how they have progressed, and then you set a number. So those bars you see on the development on the right side, they are clickable. So if you click one of them, the bars, yes, clicked.
Oh,
you are saying I'm giving you these points. So on all 4, you give a certain. So give that, give that. Then if you scroll a bit down, the save button, can you don't click on?
no, it's not. It's inactive. I don't know why. Did I miss something?
Yeah, no, it's not for me. I'll just check it from mine, and I'll say let you guys know. Maybe it's it has to do with the dates and all that. So I'll check from mine. It's okay. But once you click save, then you have basically graded your peer. So this is how you'll be doing your peer grading in the rubrics. Just click on the info icon and you understand what you are grading, so that you then grade your peer. And for who you have been assigned, we'll just be letting you know. We'll just be posting an Excel sheet maybe, so that you understand, for example, in this case, whose submission this is, and you contact them on Slack.
Okay. So are we gonna are we manually grading it, or do we have an API we can access from our backend?
No, this is manually grading it. We don't provide you an API. You'll just be, it's basically like giving a score, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 criteria. You're giving them a score. And that score is not like entirely dependent on your agent as well, because, for example, one of them is feedback improvement and proactive communication. You see those from your interactions with your peer, not from their code base only. So it also has a human aspect to it. So it's going to be done right here on Linux. And this is only for those that actually submitted a peer gradable submission. For those of you that didn't submit, then you haven't assigned your peers and you'll not be participating in this. So we have clearly said that we should be submitting assignments on time. So for those that actually have done that, we will let you know like who your peers are. We'll just be posting an Excel sheet on Slack, so that you can go ahead and contact your peers.
Okay.
I hope it's clear. I'll just check this save button issue, and then also be posting an update on it on Slack.
Is the leaderboard active?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Efrata. Yes, Jacob, do you have the question?
Okay, thank you again. Are we going to submit the result manually, like if not asked now? I haven't understand it. Well,
Jacob, can you repeat your question?
are we going to uh, uh, grade our peer manually on the KNX website, or the agent we built is going to do that?
Okay, so Efrata, I'm sorry, but I will have to ask you again to present.
Okay, sure.
So I want you to click on the info icon on the rubric, and then rubric info icon, and scroll to the bottom.
Right.
So here we have the agent feedback relevance. So this rubric, this criteria evaluates whether your agent, auditor agent produced relevant, actionable forensic feedback when run against peers. So in this case, then you have to actually run your agent on the submissions that your peer has done. Jacob, I hope it's clear. And you're just grading how your agent actually performed in this case.
It's a bit confusing still, I didn't get it. So,
What's confusing?
how are we exactly going to grade it? Is it manually on this website by looking to the code on peer?
Yes. I think it's okay. So let's go one by one. Let's open the first. If you go to the top, development purpose, right? Evaluate how much of the complete week 2 deliverables has the peer has implemented as evidenced by the GitHub repository in the functional state of the code base. This is measured against the full final spec. So here you are checking it like the entire for. So we are thinking, we are not only checking for the interim, but the entire up to Saturday we'll be grading it. So the entire full spec definitions, the chief justice synthesis, the complete graph wiring, infrastructure, and audit reports. This criterion focuses on delivery completeness in the quality of engineering process, visible in Git history, not report quality or theoretical depths. Then once you do this, you come to you open what each point says. For example, if you open complete system, then it tells you what actually is a complete system, and you check whether your peer's repository is actually whether it falls within the point, the complete system, the partial pipeline, the superficial, and absent, and then you go back. If you just close the rubric details and select from the bar here, which do you think your peer? Which bar do you think your peer actually? So then once you click save, you have basically traded your peer. So I'd say just read through the criterions, what they're saying, and based on those, you come here and then you select from those 4 bars, you select which point to give. I think the rubrics would explain it most.
Yes, I got it.
Yes. Okay. Let's get this.
Okay. What about the PDF, the report?
What?
Part? The PDF report.
So the PDF report, if it is not part of the rubric, then you don't create it.
Okay. Okay. So we don't need to do any evaluation for that PDF.
It's your entire evaluation is based on the rubrics that's defined here. So what we have been showing you, the info icon, your evaluation is entirely based on what's written.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Let's get this. Yes, Peter.
So are we can we use these rubrics for our agent as well?
I wouldn't say, because there are human aspects to it. Like I said, it will be clear when you read the criteria, but some of them are like proactive communication. How has your peer been in communicating you, could be through Slack or any other medium. So your agent doesn't have access to those things, right? So you cannot be creating those criteria with those. But for the final criteria, then you are creating his submission, and then you are providing what your agent outputted. So on the bottom, you have one criteria, which is agent feedback relevance. And for this one, you are running your peer's repository against your agent. I hope it's clear, yes. Okay, so we're done with questions. Since we also passed the time, what about the other rubrics? For example, like for the proactive communication, yes, it depends on how your peer is proactively communicating with you. So it's subjective. I mean, we can integrate our agent to Slack and review our peer's communication. Abdurrahim, I don't think you have enough time to do that. And besides, you'll also need additional like API keys and all that. So let's keep, for now, let's keep it. Yes, for now, let's keep it human. Not everything should be done by agents. Some of them, let's treat ourselves. Okay, so I think everything is clear. I'll be just, yes, Maria.
So, we'll do a minimax iteration between my friend and me. So I might do 3 iterations, like I give a comment for his repo and he'll improve something, and same to me. So am I going to grade finally, or?
Yeah, so this is going to be open until Saturday. So until Saturday, you are able to grade. Since we also want to be grading the final outputs of your peers agent, what they have done, this will be open until Saturday. So you can do multiple gradings, but at the end, the final grading will be on Saturday.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you, Nuri. I think we'll close the session now. Thank you, Efrat, as well, for demonstrating. And hope you guys have a good rest of the day. And we'll be announcing on Slack. Thank you.